The angel's saying, I'm Yahweh. I'm the God of Bethel. Remember that? We had a meeting back there. I am the God of Bethel. I mean, how much more explicit can it be? Angel of the Lord. Exodus 3, familiar story. The question is, who's in the bush? Who is in the bush? Now Moses was keeping the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, led his flock to the west side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God, and the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. Okay. The angel of the Lord is in the bush. But look at verse 4. When Yahweh saw that he turned aside to see, Moses turned aside to see what was going on, God called to him out of the bush. Well, that makes it sound like Lord and God, again, they're two different things. One's referring to the other, but you already know the angel is in the bush. You got at least two in the bush. And they're both deity. You say, well, how can you be sure about the angel of the Lord being deity? Well, not only is he in this mix, you have angel, Yahweh, and Elohim in there, but we get other indications. By the time we hit Exodus 3, the angel of the Lord has a history in the biblical text. This is the Jacob and Laban story. When Jacob has been instructed, what to do with his flocks so that they multiply against Laban's. And in verse 11, as he's relating this as we're reading about it, and Jacob is relating it. He says, "Then the angel of God said to me in the dream." So he's having a dream again, which is another visionary experience. "Jacob, and I said, here I am." He said, "Lift up your eyes and see all the goats with bait," and so on and so forth. And in verse 13, here's the important part. The angel tells Jacob, "I am the God of Bethel." Now, for that to have impact, you have to know something about Bethel. This is the place where Jacob first encountered Yahweh when he left home, and he built an altar there to him. The angel saying, "I'm Yahweh. I'm the God of Bethel." Remember that? We had a meeting back there. I am the God of Bethel. I mean, how much more explicit can it be? Genesis 48, 15, and 16. I want to show you this way. This is one of my favorite passages in the Old Testament because it's one of the most surprising. This is Jacob's prayer. He's blessing Joseph's children, and we tell this in Sunday school all the time about the old man, Jacob, gets the older and the younger mixed up, and he crosses his hands and, bless them. And Joseph tries to correct him because you're supposed to bless the firstborn a special way, and then the other one, And Jacob says, "No, just don't correct me." And we get that part of the story, but we miss what he actually prays. And that's the important part. But Israel, Jacob, again, his name has been changed to Israel, stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, though he was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, thus crossing his hands. Although Manasseh was the firstborn, he blessed Joseph, again through his children, saying, here's what he prays. There's 3 stanzas to the prayer. "The God in whose ways my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked. The God who has been my shepherd from my birth to this day." Now the third stanza you expect it to be the God who did something else. That's not what you get. The angel who has redeemed me from all harm. And here's the kicker. May he bless the boys, bless the lads. In Hebrew, the verb is singular. You cannot translate it, "may they bless," like God and the angel are separate. No, it says, "may he bless." You say, well, which one does Jacob want to bless the kids? The answer is yes. Both. It doesn't matter. They're interchangeable. God and the angel. It's both, they're both Yahweh. What does it matter? May he bless the boys. Again, it's kind of a shocking passage, especially for Jews. Again, just trust me, because I went through that group of Jews and showed them this stuff, and they're like, they found it incredible.